Hey all, we are back in Ulaanbaatar, and that means that we have internet again and some time, so I can actually work on some videos and film some introductions and tell you a bit about the trip. And in this video, we will be going to Orkhon Valley. That is actually already 2 weeks ago that we were there. But in between, as we were camping and hitchhiking, we didn't have any Wi-Fi to do any of these kind of things. So we had some internet on our mobile data, but also not too much because Orkhon Valley is literally in the middle of nowhere. And it's really beautiful. That's why we loved it there. We stayed there for 5 days and we were camping at a beautiful river near to a waterfall that you will see in this video. But the main important thing about the Orkhon Valley is all the animals. So we went horseback riding there, and it is full of yaks and Kashmir goats and also little marmots that you will see in this video. So whoever loves nature and whoever loves animals will enjoy this video. And I will try to explain you a little bit about the animals. At the end we went to the yak festival, and I will put some clips in here, but we did not really enjoy this festival. We actually left it early because the animals were not treated the way we expected to. And also it was more like a kind of commercial festival and not so much, like it didn't feel super authentic. Like we expected some things that they sell more traditional things and we can buy like yak products or whatever, yak wool. We were really hoping to find some yak wool. But no, most things they sold was fruit and cheap stuff from China, like all those plasticky things. There was yak meat for eating at one stall. And otherwise the animals were like not enjoying this festival. It was also super hot this day. While overall in Orkhon Valley we had the craziest weather. We had 4 hailstorms while camping. And we had a lot of wind, but our tents proved to be strong enough to deal with all the winds. So that was pretty great. And we enjoyed the time there a lot. And I woke up in the morning with a whole herd of yaks in front of my tent. I just opened my tent and everything was full of yaks. So you will see a lot of yaks in this video and a lot of Kashmir goats and a lot of sheep. And we had fun. Oh yeah, also during horse riding, I had a little accident. I actually fell off the horse and injured myself a little bit. But that's not the pet you see here. This is another issue again. It might still be related. I don't know. Like, I didn't fall on my shoulder, but I have some shoulder issues for a while already, and now I have a lot of pain. And my digestive issues that I had 2 months ago came back because the food in Mongolia is not agreeing to my stomach. It's literally the opposite of what I should eat, but there aren't many choices. We mainly eat from supermarkets, especially as I try at least to avoid meat. It wasn't completely possible in Mongolia, but I tried to eat as little meat as possible, and it worked out better than expected. But we mainly ate cold food from the supermarkets for that. And I'm sorry for the lighting. It's getting a bit late already and the lighting here is not so good. We rented a small apartment in Ulaanbaatar for the last days. We decided to have a rest because I got a little sick. The trip was a bit exhausting. I will tell you more about this probably in the next video because hitchhiking is not always relaxing. And Mongolia is loads of driving to go from place to place. And there aren't really roads, as you will see in some videos. Also in this video, we hitchhiked from Karakorum to Orkhon Valley. What was quite easy, but you will see that some of the roads are just gone. And we had a fun time there, and I hope you enjoy this video. And I see you guys soon. Bye. We were hitchhiking from Karakorum to Orkhon Valley, and this is a little stop on the way to enjoy the view. And we hitchhiked with 3 young Mongolians, and it was quite an interesting ride. hitchhiking through Orkhon Valley, and I just crashed something in the car because you see the beautiful road. That is not a road, but at least we have a nice view. There's lots of horses, and then in the background are some yaks. At least we stopped several times at beautiful spots to repair the car or to find different ways, as the road was completely gone. But you see, the landscape is pretty amazing, and it was nice to watch it, and we found lots of animals on the way. And in the next clip you will see what happens if the road is just washed away. And when you have a big car, you can just go through the rivers like this, but we were in a tiny car, so we couldn't do this, so we had to go all the way around and find different ways, and it took much longer than expected. And yeah, it wasn't an issue. We still had a lot of fun, and as you see, there's always animals in the background. In the next video you will see some bathing yaks while we were waiting for figuring out a different way. So it wasn't the worst experience, but it took longer than expected, and we arrived only quite late in the afternoon, like more evening, so short before sunset, so we could only go quickly to the waterfall when we arrived. We actually don't have any kind of video of the real waterfall, so I will add a little picture in the next clip. And the way back we took horses to test how it goes back to the place where we put up our tents. It was just a short distance, just to see how Vanessa especially liked it, and if we would do a longer horse tour. And you will see more horses later in this clip. But it was a nice little ride for sunset to see some of the landscape. And we actually came quite close to this cute little baby yaks with their families, and there will be a specific video about yaks, so I didn't put all the yak clips I made on this trip to Orkhon Valley into this video, but you will still see them around. But yeah, I visited these yaks every day, and it was really nice. And yeah, who doesn't love yaks? And they are actually treated quite nicely. And the babies are so adorable, don't you think? So this is the view from next to where we camp. We were sleeping in tents the whole time in Orkhon Valley, and it's right next to the river, and there you see the beautiful sunset, and it was just beautiful. And there was actually barely any people at this area, even there's some yachts around, but most tourists stayed at a bigger campsite close by, like a kilometer or a kilometer and a half, so it was quiet where we were. And this is where we went to do our laundry and to have a shower, because we were just staying in the nature, so that's what we did on this trip. And then this big group of horses just came around, and next you will see the yaks looking through our laundry that we put out on the rocks to dry, and it was really cute. They were sniffing it, but they decided it's not eatable and left it alone after a moment. But it was really funny how they came. Actually, a lot of the animals here live half wild. So the horses are wild for half a year, and only when they're needed in summer they are captured, and they have to train them again every year. But when they're not needed, they're just roaming around freely, and so do the yaks and the sheep and the goats. So usually during the day they can go wherever they want, and then in the evening they might be brought back to a safe place or just roam around freely for some weeks to feed themselves and enjoy life. And only when they're needed they are captured, and that's actually a nice way to deal with the animals, I think. It's just a little bit stormy here. We had already 2 hail showers today, and now the wind is on full blowing mode, and half the night was the same. So let's hope the tent survives. Until now it went fine, but now it seems to get even worse. So I wanted to show you this finished object. This is a Lula tee by Mac Knits. It's a simple, nice shirt. And I made it out of this beautiful airy silk by the Indian hentai that I told you a lot about before, Sunrays Creations. And this is a kind of silk where no animal is harmed. The silkworms are not killed. This is a special region in India where the silk is grown. And I really like it because it's super lightweight. So I had 100-gram ball. And you see, I finished the whole shirt. And I still have a lot left. I didn't weigh it because I'm traveling, so I don't have a scale with me. But I would say it's nearly half of it left. And as you can see, it's not the longest shirt, but it's a really nice length. And it turned out really beautiful. What I like about the patterns by Mac Knits is that she has a lot of summary patterns where you don't feel hot in, and they are on a kind of loose gauge, and you don't need too much yarn. And especially because I had no clue how long this will last, because I didn't have a label of this. But I assumed it's one of the ones with 590 meters, and it was. So I wasn't sure how much I have and how long I can knit a shirt, but you see, I could have chosen a shirt with a tighter gauge, but this feels really comfortable. I love to wear it. And this is my finish doing this trip. And yeah, I've knit the Lula tee before for a friend of mine in blue, and I really already liked it the first time. So I decided to make one for myself. And it has a little lace detail here. And then it's mainly knit plainly. And then you have another lace detail here at the bottom. And I hope you can see it more or less. And yeah, it also has a little lace detail here at the sleeves. So what I really like about her patterns, that they're usually quite simple, but they have little details, so the knitting doesn't get too boring than just a normal, simple stockinette stitch thing. So we did decide on doing a day tour with the horses, and the plan was to go for several hours, and we organized it in one of the local yurts. But there was a misunderstanding, and they first didn't get that we wanted to actually do this the next day. And then we left a bit later, but that wasn't an issue. And we had quite a lot of fun, but in the end, it was quite exhausting, especially for Vanessa with her knees. So she had a lot of knee pain with the horse riding. And then I fell off the horse and hurt myself a little bit. It wasn't too bad, I'm still fine, there's no big issue. But in this moment, we still had to continue riding back and everything, but it wasn't the best day to do like more hours. So we were only on the horse for like 2 to 3 hours, riding through the landscape, seeing all the animals around. As you see, there's lots of sheep and goats and yaks and everything, and we enjoyed the trip a lot. But then, especially because of all the knee pain for Vanessa, we just did a few hours and decided to not do a multiple day horse riding trip, because that wouldn't be the best if you're in pain all the time. But as you see, we came to places that we would probably not have walked to, and it was really nice. And now in the next clip you see where we ended up, at this nice little waterfall. There was a big waterfall that you only saw in the picture, but we did make a video of the small waterfall, and it's a really nice place as well. And we had a little rest there before we were riding back to the camp, and it was a lovely day that we enjoyed a lot. On the way back we met this funny little yak. We don't know what was happening, but it just started running and jumping like crazy and was really cute. Yeah, you can see how cute it was. And also Vanessa had a bit of an issue with her horse, because it didn't want to move so much, so it often stopped and we had to like force it to continue. Not violently force it, just like convince it to continue. And yeah, my horse got scared. So it wasn't like any kind of evil attack why the horse threw me down. It was just scared of something and went crazy. And my rodeo skills are not so good. I was actually surprised how long I lasted on the horse before I fell, but then I fell. And there you see all the like wild birds that are flying around. We are not sure, like there's all kinds of birds in this area. And I cannot tell you, I'm not an expert in birds, but there was hawks and falcons and everything. So this clip is filmed right next to where we camp. You see in the background there's this little shed where you can sit and eat. Because the weather was really bad and was hailing and storming a lot, we didn't use it as much. We had to often eat inside our tents. But in between it was also really nice and sunny, so the weather was changing quite rapidly there. Please pay attention to the bottom left. There's a little marmot sitting there. And the marmots are really shy animals, and they are hiding in holes all over the area. And as you see, this marmot didn't feel safe enough to get out, but it was also not hiding completely in a hole. And you saw a whole herd of Kashmir goats just passing by in the background and enjoying its day. And this is why I love the place so much. You could just sit somewhere and loads of animals would appear somehow. And there's so many different animals. Obviously, the Kashmir goats are domestic-sized animals, but there's also wild animals like the marmots. And this is another day, and there's a big herd of yaks that you don't see so much in this video, but you can see them in the background, and that's why the marmots felt more safe and they were playing around like crazy in this clip. So you can see more marmot action. And as you know, marmots are alpine animals, they love the mountains. But the Mongolian marmots seem much smaller than the ones in Austria and Switzerland. They are pretty cute and tiny, and I think they're adorable, and they're having a lot of fun in this video. But I was just waiting for Vanessa that was filling our water bottles after we went to a little supermarket to get some groceries, and I could just sit there the whole day and watch them play around. And we don't know, like normally they were hiding everywhere, but next to the herd of yaks, it seems they felt safe. I think they're more afraid of the birds, the prey birds that would eat them, but maybe they don't go down between the yaks, and that's why they went in a playful mood. So we had a great opportunity to watch them enjoy their play and having fun with each other. And here you can see the birds flying around. There's a lot of different birds of prey in the area, and they're just looking for what they can find, and it's really nice to watch them. Sometimes they're so close. Usually you don't have the camera out at this moment, but even here you can see that some of them came quite close to me while I was just sitting and watching the river and enjoying the day. And yeah, the nature is just stunning in this area, so I would recommend everyone to go to this valley to enjoy the nature and all the animals around. On our last day in Orkhon Valley, we actually hitchhiked down to the Yak Festival with a local family from one of the yurts around. And we were really excited about this Yak Festival because we imagined something completely different from what it was. And yeah, we were a bit disappointed in the end, but next you will see some of the traditional music they were playing there, and that you might enjoy.
Orkhon doğar amsgadadag armağımın horin tatgar khatirdag zulmin Hibbini şimdi zodradag Oysun sağağın sıdıgılar yolagdadag Aslan olsun hıkkayıl gota Kör kadın
So why we were disappointed by the yak festival was that it wasn't really focused on the yaks. We assumed that this is a festival where they celebrate the animals because that's what they tell about it, but in the end they force yaks to do things that they don't enjoy, and it's just for entertainment reasons, and they don't treat them all too well. In many cases you see they're pulled on a ring in their noses and stuff like this, but this is still like acceptable. But like they did things like racing on yaks, yak polo, demonstrations on how to catch yaks with a lasso, all this kind of things, and they're often kicking them and hitting them and stuff for no real reason, because like it's not a natural thing for a yak to play polo or something, and also it's not like really nice to ride yaks. You can do it, but just for entertainment reasons, I'm not a fan of this. Also, we expected that there would be a lot of like yak related products, like for example yak wool, and that didn't exist at all. Yeah, they had a yak beauty contest and stuff like this, and then the yaks didn't like it, but then the yaks started fighting, and then they were hit by the people for fighting. But I can understand, it was also the hottest day that we had so far, and it was way too hot for the yaks. They don't enjoy the heat so well, and then being ridden and demonstrated and stuff was not the nicest thing for them, I think. But that's their traditional culture, so nothing to judge, but we left the festival early because we didn't want to watch it anymore. And that was fine. Next, you will see the little felting workshop we did at the Yak Festival. And I quickly wanted to show you the final product. We made tiny little bags, and they are quite cute. And it's more to learn the technique. I've done felting before, wet felting and needle felting, but this combined both. So we wet felted the white part, and then we needle felted some pattern on it. And it is actually now holding my earbuds, so I can talk to you and listen and all those kind of things. And was a nice little workshop, and I hope you will enjoy it. This is our felting machine. It was really nice and easy to use. And they were actually having a shop selling their hand-felted products like hats and shoes and stuff. But we just wanted to learn the techniques. I've done both of these techniques before. Vanessa has only done the needle felting, if I remember correctly. And we had a lot of fun. This was actually probably the highlight of the Yak Festival for us, to sit and do some traditional crafts with wool. And actually the Mongolian wool is quite nice and soft, surprisingly. Way softer than most of the European wool brands. And we had a lot of fun on our little felting adventures. And as you've seen the little bags already, they turned out nicely, and that was the best part. So you can see they have this nice kind of board with a kind of like mesh for the soapy water for the felting. And the first step, you layer some wool in different directions as a basis and put a little bit of plastic bag in the middle, so it will not just be a block, you can actually make it a bag. It needs to be in the middle, and then you wet felt around, and then we started the needle felting for some patterns. We had tiny bits of and then after the needle felting, they were cutting the felt open to make it a bag, and then he punched in some little holes and put a leather string through, so it became a little drawstring bag. And yeah, it's a nice little project to try at home if you have some leftover.
Côte à côte là Mais qui a gagné?
Yeah, felting is fun, but I really don't need more hobbies.
Working like that.
But once in a while, it's a nice thing to do. And
Celui en blanc,
Vanessa
celui qui
made
avait l'air
a
d'être
cat
content là.
quite
Tu vois
Vanessa
qu'ils sont
has
vraiment pas
three
faits
cats
pour
at
courir.
home,
Hein.
and she's a cat nerd. And I also love cats, but she's even more a cat nerd than I am.
자, 맹신성 영웅가사를 다가오고 아이들전을 먹고 성인잔적을 나는 성인가사가 됐습니다. 다른 모든 속에 맹신성 영웅에 나오는 모델들이
Tu la wash it?
참 성인잔적 시대는 성공했습니다. 맹신성 영웅에 나오는 어필직들을 맹신성 영웅가사를 어필직들을 맹신성 영웅에 나오는
This is the final of the yak racing, and the people are really excited about it, but I don't think the yaks were really excited about it. And you see they get whipped quite badly, and these are the ones that won. The later ones got whipped even more for not being the fastest, and that was when we decided that we might not want to stay for much longer on this yak festival. But you will see a last clip of the yak festival with lots of yaks in a moment, and I hope you enjoy it. And this will be the end of the video, and then I see you again in the desert and with the separate videos about the yaks and the Kashmir goats, where you will learn more about the animals and the fibers they make. Have a good day and see you soon.
살이 두꺼워 때리지.